in the fold yet. And they say, where do you live? Oh, would you like to start a neighborhood association? Because they want community buy-in. Because then when you go down there and you say, I don't like this, they say, well, hey, here's your neighborhood president who's representing your entire community. Remember, communitarianism. Individual versus the community. It could be the global community right down to your town community, right down to your neighborhood community. This is about manufactured consensus. All right? So when you see the words capacity building, strengthening community, consensus building, vibrant, walkable, bikeable, livable, change. These are all jargon terms that are part of this plan, right? This is a subversion of real community and neighborhood groups. So that's how they do it. Now, for people who think that I'm making this up, she's making this up. Hey, by the way, if you think I'm fear-mongering, I did not come up with this plan. I am a reporter of this plan. I'd love to have come up with this plan, I'll tell you. I would have deep-sixed it instantly if it occurred to me. And you know, I'm from Venice Beach, and that's where there's all these scriptwriters. Everybody back when I was living there, you know, you just walk down the street and there's all these clack, clack, clack typewriters, people writing their scripts, right? Some big payments went to scriptwriters to come up with this, because this is a whole world plan, and it is being sold to you. It is a manipulation. So here it is. This is great. You're going to love this. It's a children's book. Children's book written and published in 1994 after Agenda 21. It's called Rescue Mission Planet Earth, a children's edition of Agenda 21. A children's edition of Agenda 21. You can leave it. It's okay. So what is this? It's lots of pictures. In fact, there's even a line in here. This is for children. It says, the planet groans every time it registers another birth. Yeah, this is for kids. Okay? That's right. Okay, so this is, this is a painful thing because you know what? Think about this. Your children are being indoctrinated. Your children and grandchildren are being indoctrinated. And not only that, but they are being empowered with the concept that they have the power to destroy the earth and to save it. You want to give a child the concept that they have that kind of power? So here's something in the back of the book. It's turning Agenda 21 into action is a big challenge for us all. Thousands of people at the United Nations and in governments are working on it. This booklet will show parents and educators how children can start to be a part of this work. See that? This is outcome-based education, mastery learning, direct instruction, and lifelong learning. Those are all code words for Agenda 21, manipulation. This is all about manipulation. This is about teaching you to be part of a cohort. This is about social equity. This is about no one standing out. This is about no one better or smarter or sharper than anyone else. This is about a race to mediocrity. This is about being afraid to stand up and say, this is wrong. So, how are they doing it? What's it all about? The idea, now, raise your hand if you live in an apartment on top of a shop. Oh, nobody's raising their hand. What do you know?
Oh, we all will.
Now, check it out. The idea...
My daughter does.
Okay, keep that to yourself for a minute. The idea, the idea is that life in the suburbs and the rural areas is unsustainable because we produce too many greenhouse gas emissions, right? And we live in that evil sprawl, okay? That's where you live. If you live on more than a couple thousand square feet of land in your own house, you're living in sprawl, all right? In fact, most of your state is sprawl. Let's not kid ourselves. In fact, most of the country is sprawl. Now, it costs too much. This is the green mask. This is why I called my book Behind the Green Mask. It costs too much. This is the story, the green story. It costs too much to get public transportation. Well, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck if people are not driving. This is the idea. So it costs too much to get public transportation out to you in the rural and suburban areas. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring you into the city center where you can take public transportation, right, wherever it goes or wherever it doesn't go, whether it's actually there or not, it does not matter, okay? This is the justification for moving all of us into the dense city centers. Smart growth. Remember I told you that, remember I held up the Growing Smart legislative guidebook? Growing smart is smart growth. Smart growth. What is that? That is ground floor. You've seen these buildings in the center of town, right? They're empty, mostly. Empty. Paid for with your transportation tax dollars or your property tax dollars, your tax dollars, subsidized by your tax dollars. What are they? Ground floor retail built right to the edge of the sidewalk, 12 feet high. 1, 2, or more stories of residential apartments or condos on top of that, often empty, often vacant, right? Often bankrupt. Around the back in an alley, access for 1 car parking or less per unit. Around the front, you've got your wide sidewalk for your bistro tables, for your coffee shop that's not there. Then out in the street, you've got your bike lane. And then there's 1 lane for driving because your street's on a diet, just like you. And right in the middle of the street, you've got your median, okay? And on the other side of the street, it's the same. This is smart growth. High density, urban development in the center of your city, often called a transit village. It's not going to be a city anymore. It's a transit village now, built close to transportation on a transportation line. This is the plan. Now, how are they doing this? They are using an international group called the International Council on Local Environmental Initiatives, ICLEI, I-C-L-E-I. You've seen that, right? Okay. Now, ICLEI, it was called International Council on Local Environmental Initiatives. Now they call it ICLEI. Those letters, they stand for nothing. It's just like a monolithic I-C-L-E-I. Local Governments for Sustainability. Local Governments for Sustainability. They want you to think it's all local. This is all grassroots. This is all organic. It's coming up from you. This is all your idea, right? This is all your idea. We're just helping you realize the reality of what you want, which is to live in an apartment on top of a shop in the center of a city. Okay, so ICLEI is a non-governmental organization, and it was created to implement Agenda 21 worldwide. It was created in 1990. It's a stealth organization. Now, you're going to see, people will tell you that there are 1,200 members worldwide, 1,200 cities that are members worldwide, and there's 600 cities in the United States. That's not true. ICLEI does not report the truth on their website. I happened to catch their real website before they took it off during the Rio Plus 20. You know, there was the Rio Plus 20, the 20th anniversary of the Rio de Janeiro meeting. It was just in Brazil in June, right? Well, ICLEI had their new website up, and they showed 7,800 cities worldwide. There are more than 1,300 cities in the United States that are members of ICLEI, the International Council on Local Environmental Initiatives. It is a stealth organization. It says it gauges livability, it measures and inventories your energy and water use. They are about to roll out, in fact, they are rolling out now in Southeast Asia their new plan, which is not just energy management, but also water management. That is coming our way. This is a restriction. It is actually, literally, a parallel government. It's a policy and legislative arm of Agenda 21, ICLEI. And there are 25 cities in Washington State and 5 counties that are members. And you know, if you don't see your city on this list, I'm going to read the list, actually. I'm going to tell you first it's Island County, King County, Skagit County, Snohomish, Thurston, and Wacom. Then you're going to see Auburn, Bellingham, Bothell, excuse me if I say these wrong, Coupeville, Edmonds, Everett, Issaquah, Kirkland, Lacey, Linwood, Mercer Island, Oak Harbor, Olympia, Port Townsend, Redmond, Renton, Sammamish, SeaTac, Seattle, Shoreline, Snoqualmie, Spokane, Tacoma, and Tumwater. Now, if you don't see your town on that, don't be worried about it, or if it's been taken off because your city has decided to quit paying their dues, I'll tell you what, that's a way to get us off the trail. Your city will just say, okay, we're not going to pay dues. You guys are coming down, you're making a big stink at our city council, which you do need to do. You get your city off of that. But you can't stop there. When your city says, all right, we're not going to pay dues to ICLEI anymore, you, uncle, you got us. No, no. Because what happens then is that they've still got all of the, what? What does ICLEI do? They come up with ordinances, statutes, they do protocols, they have greenhouse gas emissions measurement systems, and this is all in place, and this is what they're doing. You're paying for it. You're paying for it. It says it's a non-governmental organization, but it's made up of government officials. So you know when you go to a government meeting, right? You know when you go to a government meeting, they're supposed to tell you that they're having it, right? Open meetings laws. You know you've got them. You've got them in Washington State, all over. They've got to tell you they're having a meeting when they're having a government meeting. They might put a notice up at 5 p.m. in the hallway of the city council meeting for a Monday morning meeting, right? But it's there. But this is a group that is made up of governmental officials, but it's a non-governmental group. You don't know what's going on. You, in fact, didn't even know about ICLEI until recently. You never even knew that they were actually monitoring your greenhouse gas emissions. This group is an international group that has details on all of your energy, on where it comes from, on how much you're using, on your water. This is a parallel government. Now, you know what? When Obama was running for election last time, I know I said I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal Democrat. I did not vote for Barack Obama. Yay! Okay. I didn't vote for the other guy either. I voted for Bob Barr, who I had never heard of, and I said, all right, I'm voting for him. Now, when Obama ran last time, he said that he was going to commit the United States. I don't think he meant Michelle and the kids and him. But he said he's going to commit the United States to reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 80% below 1990 levels by the year 2050. That's a lot, right? 80% below 1990 levels by the year 2050. So, you know, I'm kind of a math person. So I go and I find a chart. Because I'm thinking, when was the last time we were releasing 80% below 1990 levels of greenhouse gas? What year was that? What year? What year? 1934. A stellar year for the United States, as you recall, right? The depths of the Depression, 1934. But if you think about this, there are way more people now than there were in 1934. So on a per capita basis, you are back in the 1880s, right? Except you can't have a horse or livestock, right? Yeah. So you're going to be on your bike. That's it. Now, that's it. 1990, 80% below 1990 levels. Now, here's the other important thing. One other, you know, all of this is important, okay? But it's good. I want you to understand this is not some conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy fact. So, remember the Kyoto Treaty? The U.S. did not sign on to the Kyoto Treaty, right? But that did not stop 1,055 United States mayors. Now, this was Seattle Mayor Greg Nichols' idea, supposedly, working with ICLEI. This is an ICLEI project. It's called the Mayor's Climate Protection Campaign. And somebody mentioned this. about, you know, how 500 mayors had signed on to it. It is 1,055 United States mayors have signed on to it, including all the members here of ICLEI in Washington.